Hi, I'm Dr. Pam Jarboe.
And I'm Dr. Liam Schubel. And I'm always looking over your shoulder, Dr. Jarboe.
So nice to have someone watching over me.
Folks, I got to tell you, we're excited because you're watching IFCO television and it is fantastic.
Tune in.
Did you already turn us on? Oh, we're turned on.
Lee.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes.
All right. Hi, welcome back to IFCO-TV. We are here now live with an all-female crew. Finally, the second one around, all chick-tick team. We're going to have fun this afternoon, right?
Like
Yes,
girls
ma'am.
just want to have fun.
We all do. So I am Bryn Gillow. I practice in the Poconos, and next to me is Pam Jarboe, who has been in practice for over 20 years in
Groton,
Massachusetts. Thank you, with her lovely husband, Steve. And on the far side, we have Judy Campanale, who practices in Levittown, Pennsylvania. And I heard about you that you are also known as Dr. Joe Strauss's eye candy,
Is that what you've heard?
his office wife,
Right? That's
Because
me.
you've been in practice with
Yes,
him for
that's
many,
me.
many years until
Until last year, yes. We
Exactly.
practiced together. Joe was in practice for 46 years. I spent 21 of those years with him until he retired last year. We miss him terribly in the
Bet.
office, but we are keeping on, and it's an honor to carry on the tradition and the practice that he started there. Is huge practice, as you know. We have big impact there in Eastern Pennsylvania, but having fun all by myself.
So
now.
we're all Northeastern girls, aren't we?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Please chat with us. We're looking forward to hearing your comments. Please just say hi if you're watching right now. IFCOChiro.org/live. Check in. You can send your messages on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because we really would love to share a lot of information with you, because between the two of us, we've been in practice for over 50 years, right?
There
Right.
are three of us.
Did I say two? Well,
Just to be clear on that.
two of
But you know
Pam,
what? We're
and then there's
coming
two of you.
live from New Beginnings, and there's been a
Yes.
lot of fun here,
Yes.
right?
Good
And
times.
so she
Yes.
maybe only thinks
Good
there's
times.
two, but there's
Two,
really three of us.
You know, it's
We're
all the
kinda
same.
yeah, we're
We're all
melting
one.
together.
We're all
There you
one.
go. Thank you
Right.
very much,
Okay.
Bryn.
Now that we've got that cleared up, we are going to start with a topic that we thought would be very beneficial for most people that are watching, because this is something that everybody runs into during their practice day-to-day life. If you're a student, you are going to run into this. You're in active practice, you run into this all the time. And that topic is expectations. People, when they come into our offices, have expectations. Sometimes because another practice member told them about their experience and what they should expect. Sometimes of what they hear on the street,
Right?
from other people. So how do you handle those expectations? There's all sorts of different ones. There could be, oh, I should feel better after one visit, or the expectation is once I start, I have to come forever. How do you handle different scenarios like that in your office? Who wants to give it a go?
I had this friend in chiropractic school who used to say regularly, expectation, it's the doorway to disappointment. And I was like,
so true.
that's a little depressing. But actually, I find it to be very wise, because as we find out in practice, people have these ideas about who we are and what our role is. So they might walk in the door thinking, thank you, I'm here for you to fix my headaches, or my knee pain or whatever it is. And I think it's really important to reroute that conversation to be specific about what we do, which is remove nerve system pressure.
Yes.
And
So what's the best way of rerouting that right from the
yeah.
get-go?
Well, for me personally, I think that involves who you're talking to, but it's always good to talk about the cause. That I know, I'll say a lot of times, I know you're really worried about this thing and it's detracting from your life, and it's really important that you not have this so that you can function better. And also it's a wake-up call. It's a signal, like from the dashboard of your car, letting you know something's not right under the engine. And so my specialty is looking at the nerve system for that cause. And so then I will transfer them over there. But honestly, it's a little bit different from person to person. But, always going back to that principle of what my specialty is and how that relates to the rest of the body.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I would say too, when I practicing so long with Joe Strauss, we did have two different kinds of approaches, and there's probably as many approaches as there are chiropractors, right? And then multiply that by however many people there are that you see. But I think one approach that Joe took was we don't talk about symptoms. So often people didn't even mention their symptoms to him because he said from the get-go, like, what we do here is not related to how you feel. How you feel and how you are don't necessarily. And so he was very clear about that in the beginning of their care. But I think for me, and maybe for women in general, because we tend to be more listening, more heartfelt, more emotional, right?
Yeah.
I like to let people vent. Like, it's
Yes.
okay with me on the first visit to kind of to let all that out. I want to hear you. I want to get to know who you are. I want to know what your concerns are. But then, we got to reroute right away that here's what I do. And this is the expectation that you can have is a clear nerve system.
Yeah.
What that means in terms of powering up your body, we don't know. So, and then every visit after that, I mean, a lot of times people will come in, they'll get their adjustment, they'll get checked, right? We check first. Yeah. And if you need an adjustment, you're adjusted. And there are times when people get off the table and they'll say, it's still kind of hurting me here, right? And I like to sometimes joke with people, which you can't joke with everybody, but
Right.
you, as you were saying, to address that it depends on who it is. I like to say, if you can joke this way, oh, I must have left my magic wand at home today.
Oh, we
right?
say that all the time.
Right? Like, it's not a magic wand. It is what it is. And let's not think that it's magic. Let's not think that this is the answer to all your problems, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's an adjustment. It's a means of clearing out the nerve system. What your body does after that is, entirely up to your body and its inner wisdom.
I was going to say, I love to joke around when someone says, oh, it still, hurts or whatever after 2 or 3 adjustments. And I joke around and say, yeah, I went to this exercise class and I gave it like 120%. And I was so mad when I got out of there because I didn't lose 10 pounds. Like, it doesn't happen instantly. And we all know that with other parts of life, but we just want something.
We are so used, not us, but, the public is so used to the medical model where you take a pill and within half an hour you should feel better, right? Like, the pain is gone. And often they confuse us for their painkiller, which obviously we're not,
Yeah.
We make their body function more and not speak less. I like to use one of Reggie's ways. When somebody first comes in, I do let them tell me everything that's going on, because that's what they came there with. I feel like I need to respect that. I need to let them say their piece before they're even willing to hear my part, right? So I take it down and, ask them some appropriate questions about it if need be. But then we actually physically move into another location of the office, into my open adjusting room, and I explain chiropractic to them a little bit, and then I take their clipboard that I just wrote all the stuff down and I physically put it aside, and I say, I know what's happening with you, but now let me explain to you what I'm going to provide for you. Awesome. And that gives them like that actual visual to understand this is here and this is here. And then I explain in just a few minutes of what I'm going to do, and then ask them at the end, is this what you want? Do you want less pressure on your nervous system? Does this sound good to you? Does this make sense? And if they say yes, then I said, good, now we know you're in the right place. So let's get started. So it's a very clear delineation.
And even then, I think you have to keep going over and over and over, right?
And over
and over
and over.
And I also think, it's probably worth noting that there are lots of times we're kind of maybe shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit. We got to be careful about, we think that we're being very clear that we're not about symptoms or we're not about, and then maybe we're saying or doing something else that's kind of confusing people in that way.
Like asking, how do you feel when they get up?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Or,
still
that
do
was
that.
a good one.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
other ones weren't as
Right.
good,
Yeah.
you know?
And they'll
So-
say that. Oh, that
Yeah.
adjustment you did that last time was the right one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you say to somebody that says something
Well,
like that?
I often will say something like, you're imagining adjustments like if you could think of a chemistry experiment and you're doing drops into the dropper, which drop is the most important drop? And they'll usually say the last one. I'm like, actually, no. Every single one caused that to happen. And so it's a similar thing with your body. So, yeah, that's something that can be helpful.
And one of the things that I like to say, and I do over and over again, is that you're better now than when you walked in. Like, to just reinforce that in their mind. Whether they're feeling different, whether they can measure it, like, you are better
Yes.
when your power's on. When that interference is gone, there's no obstruction between your brain and your body. You are better right now than when you walked in today. Whether you feel like that or not.
I use that line, your power is on,
Your power's on. Love
so
that.
much. I have signs over the adjusting table, power is on, and in the beginning they ask, what's that about? I'm like, oh, you have to come to the health talk to really get that full story, and that makes them curious. But in the last year or two, I've actually switched from your power is on to just saying, you have more life inside of you now.
Yeah.
Because I think power is on has, like, for me, it got boring.
Yeah.
After 14 years of saying the same
Right.
sentence. So, and I think you have more life inside of you, something that can make more sense to everybody, and that more life flow results in you healing better, you functioning better, your body working better for you.
Yeah, I
So-
never could relate to the power is on, even when I first started in chiropractic. My chiropractor would say that, and I just, that didn't click for me. I was a dim bulb.
Because your power wasn't on.
Right, it really wasn't. Yeah. But, I like to say things to people like, I can't imagine my life without having gotten adjusted. And I can't imagine what it'll be like for you. Like, I bet you can't imagine what it's like to have your nerve system functioning at 100%. And that is also an NLP thing. When you ask someone, imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to struggle, if your body didn't have to work so hard every single day. And so it gets them to imagine what would that be like. And that's sort of helpful to put them in that place.
That's awesome. I was kind of thinking too, because we started talking about expectation. I don't know if we're
Yes.
still talking about expectations
Sure.
or not.
I expect that we are.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, but then
I would
we
be
must
My
have
disappointed if we
expectation
didn't.
was that we continue to talk about this.
But I think a lot of expectations come from people's previous experience as
Right.
well, don't you
Yes.
think?
Right.
And we didn't
Yes.
really talk about that. And lots of times when people come into your office, even though I'm telling them, like, it's not about your headaches, it's
Right.
not about your back pain, when people come into our office and they have positive experiences like that, they can't help but talk to others,
Right.
their friends, their family, their coworkers, whoever, about what their experience was. So
Right.
maybe we should talk a little bit about how you counteract what somebody, because they're going to buy what their friend or family member tells them more than what you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
So are there ways that you ladies try to counteract expectations that may have been built, and legitimately so? I mean, people
Right.
do come in and are better, feel
Right.
better, are better, living
Right.
better
Yeah.
lives because
Right. I mean,
they're having great experiences with chiropractic.
If somebody, has within a couple of visits such great results, I always want to celebrate those results with them. I mean, what's more fun than, being excited for that person and just, celebrating how much better their body is now than it was before, how much better it's functioning. But I always like to throw in at that point already, not everybody responds that way. So your body is doing a fantastic job for you right now. And, I'm sure you're doing other things that are helping the healing process, because your body needs many different things to heal. It needs positive mental attitude. You need rest. You need good nutrition, So I always like to throw in there that not everybody responds that way immediately,
Yeah, that's a tricky thing. A lot of things come up in my head because let's say a person comes into us and they had headaches and then they don't have headaches anymore. Their process might also be oriented to only refer people who have headaches. So
Yeah,
then
that's
the
what I'm
rest of my
saying.
family doesn't need to come because they don't have headaches or
Exactly.
people at my work. And so I mean, I think that goes back to what we were saying before is that, well, you need to go over it again. And I was kind of joking saying and over and over and over because it pretty much is that you are going over this and over it. And I know so many chiropractors will say, but I explained this. And then,
Right?
like, I asked them 2 years later, what is a
twice.
vertebral subluxation? And they looked at me like, huh? You know? And so, I was thinking about when you were talking earlier, like we explain something, but that doesn't mean that they're getting it. And I think also when a person comes in for their first appointment or their second appointment, they're in, fight or flight mode. They might be freaked about being there. They're in pain, so they can't think clearly. So no matter what we say, a lot of times people will say, I said this and I said that and I do this and I do that on their first visit. And that person is barely there. Yeah. And it actually reminds me of the big communication story that I shared with Bryn. It's sort of a funny story, and it's a marriage story about myself and my husband, where just recently we were sitting around chit-chatting, and I said to him, the cats are psycho. We have 2 cats in our house. And he said, yeah, they are. They're totally psycho. And I was like, well, you wanted them. He said, no, I didn't want them. You wanted them. I'm like, no, honey, you wanted them. You got them. You got the cats. You asked for them. We're going back and forth, really animated. This is 5 years after we've had these cats. We're going back and realizing that I asked for chickens for my birthday, and he got me kittens. And it took us 5 years to realize that we made a mistake. But I actually thought that was really revealing, because I think that happens in practice, because you think you said something and you think they understand,
and the person just hears
and
something
they never
totally
get it.
different.
And, well, or I shouldn't say they never get it, because that's overwhelmingly negative and makes us feel hopeless. But the truth is, it's too negative. But I think it's a good mantra for all of us to have, because so many times you'll think you've educated this person and they really understand, when the truth is they live in our wackadoo culture and they're not bombarded like we are in our world. We come to these weekends, we go to these podcasts, we're reading these books, we're immersed in it, where they're immersed in something so different. And if we could imagine ourselves like a kindergarten classroom where we just keep saying over and over again and over and over and over and over, and that's just what we do.
And you've got to do it with love.
Yes,
right?
Lots of love.
I mean, I'm sure the two of you have the same experience I have. You have a practice member that comes in and gets adjusted, and after a while, they don't come in anymore. And then a year or two later, they show back up, right? And you have to kind of start over with them. You have to get back to explaining it to them, because they have forgotten the things you have said. They know in their heart this was the right place to come to again. But that's sometimes where I feel we stop communicating, because we already feel like we told them this.
Right.
And we don't want to reiterate. But in those 2 years,
right,
nobody has told them this again. And they might do this 2 or 3 times. And then suddenly they become that person that you thought they would become from the beginning, that they stay with you. They become so regular, because now it makes sense to them. Oh, yes, I should have just stayed with this the whole time through, right? Do you have that same experience in your office?
I'm sorry, I feel really animated about this, because you were saying, like, well, you don't want to repeat yourself over and over again. And a lot of people will feel that way, like, well, I already said that and I don't want to be redundant. My son, when he was 8 years old, was reciting Cymbalta commercials. And we don't really watch a lot of television. Right. But that's what they do. It's repeated over and over and over and over and over and over. And he thought it was funny, actually. He thinks the commercials are sort of hilarious.
Cymbalta, now that's the one that's kind of like vitamin
having
C.
depression. Exactly, right? So, it's reflective of a bigger problem. I don't want to say that. There's a problem in our culture where people are in tremendous amount of pain.
Not in a problem with marketing that stuff,
that's
right?
The thing.
They got it.
They don't have a problem repeating it over and over and over. And so we feel like, oh, we don't want to be smarmy, or we don't want to be like making people feel uncomfortable, when we have a really important message that deserves repeating, and it's really important.
So can we switch?
Yeah.
Well, can I just say one more thing about that?
If you
As I
have
was
to.
talking about, I really do. I really have this burning desire to say
eyes on
this
the camera, guys.
to people out there, because it's not just about saying the same thing over and over again to a single individual.
Yeah.
I find in our office, because we see so many people, we fail sometimes to repeat it over and over again over the course of the day to all the different people that come in.
Yes.
Right? So it really behooves us, however we can, to and maybe we'll talk a little bit about marketing. I would love to do that in our marketing plan, to utilize different methods by which we say to people certain things. Maybe we provide things written for them, and maybe we provide ways where they can ask us about something that will enhance our ability to say it over and over and over again, whether that's to have something in the office or a sign on a whiteboard or something that encourages them to ask us about it so that we're more likely to repeat it over and over again, and just kind of hit it from every different angle, whether that's in your newsletter and it's in your calendar and it's on the whiteboard, and then there's something in the rooms to talk about, and then right?
Yes, right.
So this is actually something that I just implemented in my office maybe about a year or two ago. And it made a huge difference because I found there were certain people that I only talked to about certain subjects because you have your topics, right? And I felt bad because those people were not the people that I was giving more chiropractic to, even though I really wanted to. So I made myself a list, and at that point when we still had paper files, I stuck that list in every card, and I made a check mark that I've addressed these topics with them. And it's just little table talk points. And now it's on every person when they first start, it's attached to their folder so that I make sure I do. Not in a specific order, not on a specific day. It doesn't have to be scripted for me. I just want to make sure that I give each person all of that. And sometimes I give it to them twice. And in an open room setting like I have in my office, it's always helpful because if I tell one person the story, the other people that are there are hearing it.
Right. That's awesome.
But how about we share a couple of the things that we use as table talk?
So, like, what would some of those items be that you have on your list?
Two of my favorite ones are kids, okay? Everybody in my office, even if they don't have kids, they see that kids are getting adjusted. So they understand that I talk about kids. So I tell them as they're laying there and I'm palpating their spine, I say, with kids, I love to talk about superpowers. Because who doesn't love to have a superpower, right? So I tell them that when I adjust them, their superpowers get stronger because they heal better, they function better, and that superpower is called innate intelligence. And even my 4-year-old tries to say that word, and he stumbles over it. He says, "I need my intelligence to work." Like
intelligence,
nice. Intelligence, and he
Love
makes different things out of it. But and my practice members enjoy when I tell them these stories. But I'm telling them a story, but it's for them because. And then when they get up, I say, "Now your superpower is on full force for the day." So
that's great.
I pull it in through a kid analogy. But kids' analogies are the greatest, aren't they?
They are. Keeping it simple, right? I mean, keeping it simple. No matter what you do, I think you need to keep it simple.
Absolutely.
I'm a systems freak, and because I do feel like it's really nice to create as much organized chaos as possible in a busy practice. So the more systems you have, the more chance you have of delivering stuff. So I would recommend 2 resources. One is on Bill Esteb's website. He has his Monday morning motivation, and he has questions that you can put on a whiteboard, or you can write them into a ChiroTouch or a Platinum, so that every time a person checks in, they get an automatic question. So we do that question of the week every single week on Monday morning, and then we do an article of the week every Monday morning. We also do a thing called autoresponders in our office. This is like you were talking about an e-newsletter or a newsletter that you send out, and ours is all automated. So let's say you have a health talk or a spinal care workshop that you teach, you can break it into pieces and send out like a series of 20 newsletters that go out or emails that go to a person, and you can time it so that they get one every single week. So every Wednesday they would get a thought from you, and it's a part of your workshop. So that's another way of repeating the ideas that you wanted to repeat. And another resource that was really good is on Steve Tullius's website, chiropractic.is.com. He has a series of questions, and so if you're looking for questions or what to write on the blackboard, you could write that. When I say blackboard, we actually did a chalkboard paint thing on our adjusting. We have an open adjusting room, so we did the blackboard in the room, and then we write a question, every single Monday morning as well.
Fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you get those questions from Steve Tullius's website?
Yeah, I get them from there, or sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's a fact, like a research fact about the body. Sometimes it's a quote. So I shake it up a little bit. Shake it up.
Shake it up.
Get all cray cray.
What? You?
I
Really?
do.
I
I
can't
do.
believe it. I would like to say, if it's appropriate to just throw a little commercial in there for the IFCO. I mean, I know it's IFCO-TV and everything.
Yeah, I think commercials for IFCO are not just allowed; they're kind of
Okay, so I would just
asked
say,
for.
for me, one of the greatest things for me in terms of coming up with new ideas and staying inspired to serve more and to serve more at a higher rate, and a more efficient rate, and in a more congruent rate was my involvement in the IFCO. So fabulous for me to be able to reach out to other like-minded chiropractors, and honestly, in the IFCO, there's no one in our organization that I feel is off limits. You know, we got a spectacular board, all of whom would welcome your questions, your concerns, take your phone call, right?
Yes.
I mean, no one, and they have a mentoring
program.
program as well, which is all available to you at IFCOChiro.org. To reach out to the organization as a whole. They could put you in touch with whoever. It would depend on what your issue would be, your question would be, whether it might be scheduling, it might be finances, it might be...
Yes. Now, to jump in, the mentoring program is available for IFCO members, but of course, being a member of the IFCO is a no-brainer.
Membership has its privileges.
Yes, it does, and it needs to.
Thank you,
It
Pam.
needs to.
Absolutely.
Because being a member of the IFCO doesn't just mean you're supporting the cause of getting every man, woman, and child on this planet from birth checked and, if needed, adjusted throughout their lifetime
For a lifetime.
better health, for better well-being, for more life inside
Just
of their
because
body.
it makes sense. Because
Yes.
the spine is the single most important organ you have.
Exactly.
I say that a million times a
Yes,
day. Listen,
yes.
your
So-
spine is the single most important organ you have. Why wouldn't you be taking care of it?
And if that is your take on chiropractic, if this is how you practice and this is how you feel about chiropractic, that message needs to be spread, of course you are a member. Of course you would join the IFCO to support that. And we want to give back to you with the mentor program, with these TV shows that we're doing from everywhere so that you get to be part of this, even if you can't be here at New Beginnings or at the Global Summit or at Mile High or at Sherman Lyceum, where we're having these programs.
Right. So it seemed like that was an appropriate time to throw that in there, because honestly, the biggest difference in my life in terms of how I practice, and honestly, what a privilege and an honor to practice in a high volume practice, take care of so many people, but would have been impossible without the help of so many other chiropractors, doing that thing. So Jim Dubell is here.
He's flattering us,
our
but he's
fabulous
flattering
Microphone's
you.
over here.
These are the microphones, Jim. The
We're in
camera
charge,
cannot
Jim.
hear.
We encourage you girls, and if I wasn't married already.
Thank you for
And that
having
message
us,
was brought to you
Jim.
by New Beginnings and Dr. Jim Dubell.
Yes.
So anyhow, just to say, I've learned so much, and I've taken so much, and I've grown so much because of the IFCO and
Me
and
as
its
well.
members and the great ideas that are shared amongst them. So I
By
just
the
want to
way
throw
of
that in there.
great ideas, I know that I would like to hear just a little bit about the ACP program.
Oh, yeah.
you tell me a bit about that,
And
please?
you just keep growing, really, and so fortunate to be a part of that. I did take the ACP course in 2008, I guess it was. So a number of years ago now, I went through the program myself and did my thesis and defended my thesis on the objective of chiropractic and its impact on the future of the profession. But it's really one of the flagship programs coming out of Sherman College right now, run by Bill Decken. But it's just had last week its first international class graduated. They had 11 chiropractors from Sweden
Wow.
come to the IRAP seminar at Sherman College last week, defend their own thesis. And I've been fortunate to be involved in reviewing the papers, assisting in the production of these papers, and helping these thinkers grow. Some spectacular people by the first European class. And it was chiropractic is really It's not just the United States
Right.
anymore; it is worldwide.
But they
and-
weren't just Swedish chiropractors.
Oh no,
Yes,
no!
but
There's
the
some
class
from
was being
Norway,
held in
some
Sweden?
some from
Okay.
Norway, some from Germany. So it was its first European class. Graduated just last week, and it was amazing,
That's
amazing.
fantastic.
So really, a program. If you want to keep growing in chiropractic philosophy, I would definitely recommend you contacting Sherman College and looking into the ACP program, which is short for Academy of Chiropractic Philosophers.
Yes, very cool. And on another note of amazing programs, we had the pleasure of being at a very amazing program this last
So good.
month, right?
Yes, so good. Yes, we were at the the IFCO summit in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Such a great program, and I would echo what you were saying about the international component.
Oh,
It was
right.
so impressive to be at that seminar. It really just had an international feel, whereas the most chiropractic programs I've been at over the last 20 years feel like United States centric. This was world centric, and it just gave a different.
16 countries were.
Yes.
I was there.
Yeah, but you weren't all
Yeah.
16 countries, weren't you?
No,
But
I can
I
easily
was
believe
there.
that it was from 16
Represented
countries. Yes.
16 different countries. I
I
thought
mean,
that
it
was
was
amazing.
really-
Normally in
great.
the chiropractic seminars, you hear some, like here, all the students from UQTR that are here,
Yeah.
you hear the French and
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is wonderful. But there, most of the time when you heard conversations, they weren't in English.
I know, it was
And it
really
was awesome.
interesting.
It was
really
wonderful.
interesting. I was at a dinner table, and I just was looking around the dinner table, having met people that there were 10 different countries at the table being
Wow.
represented. That was so
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
And really, like, it kind of puts us in the position of being a chiropractic pioneer
Yeah.
all over again.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, we think about our forefathers in chiropractic, but really, we are pioneers as we reach out
Yes.
throughout the world now and help grow this thing, this chiropractic, right? Vertebral subluxation correction, nothing more, nothing less, nothing else around the world. That you really have the opportunity to make a significant impact. I don't know if you think of yourself as a chiropractic pioneer, but you can be. You are, and you can be.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation, how we see ourselves. Yeah, it's just an interesting conversation. But it's one probably that's too big for this, but yeah.
I do
Thank you
believe
for your pioneer work.
I mean, they're just
Yeah.
learning around the world. They're just learning. And I know when I went to Buenos Aires and Joe Strauss just came back from Brazil, they are so appreciative
Yes.
of what we're doing, because
Right.
they feel like we're forefathers
Right.
in chiropractic. So
Mhm.
what
So-
an awesome opportunity
yeah.
Yeah.
right now with the IFCO as an international organization
Yeah.
really reaching every corner of the world.
It was very energizing to be around that. Really
And
energizing.
to hear what's going on in other
Yes.
countries, that what we never even think about
Yes.
as issues, you know?
Right. And also the
So-
blank slateness of it. It just changes our perspective.
Yeah.
It changed it for me.
Yeah. And I was sharing a lot of this information, not a lot, but some of the bits and pieces that I learned at the Global Summit about chiropractic in other countries with my practice members. Because they think the way it is in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, that's how it is everywhere.
Right.
And I think it makes them appreciate more that they can have it in their town, that there's five chiropractors in their little town, and that there's other countries. Germany, for example, for 80 million people, you have about 40
Oh
licensed
my gosh.
real chiropractors.
Yeah.
So, this way they can feel a little bit more appreciative for what they have.
Right.
Yeah, isn't that a great tabletop?
Yeah.
Table
Table
talk
talk. Right, there you go.
topic.
Yes.
Jeez, that wasn't easy to say. But I mean, that, we lots of times talk about innate intelligence or, the communication of the brain and the body or function versus feeling. But how about history?
Right.
Chiropractic
History is
histories
a
are
great
very
conversation. And
Right.
Well,
Even
for
in a team
chiropractic's
meeting.
birthday.
in a team meeting, talking about the history, it really
Yeah.
helps the people who work in our offices. It just opens their eyes to
Yes.
what's happened. We actually have a huge stuffed bear in our office, like as big as tall as I am, and we call it Harvey. So then when people say, why did you call it Harvey? We just get into that.
nice.
Yeah, so it's a nice segue. Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, time is running out. I do believe we have to wrap it up. But I wanted to throw out
Well,
that
wait a minute. We definitely have to wrap it up because coming up next
Is
the chiropractic goddess herself, Irene Gold, right?
Oh, that's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, we heard
definitely.
Irene
You're in for a
earlier,
treat.
and
Yeah.
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Don't you always love hearing Irene
Love
speak?
hearing
Love
Irene.
Irene Gold.
At the
Yeah.
IFCO Global Summit, the entire room was standing on chairs,
Yes.
going nuts for
Yeah.
Irene. It was so
Yeah,
wonderful.
really special. A lot of special
Yes.
moments with Irene.
But
Yep.
before we wrap up, really quick, I want to throw in there because Pam Jarboe has done such great work on putting information together, making it available to practicing chiropractors, to students, and you should take advantage of that. Our website is chirobloom.com,
Yes.
right? We're going to have that scrolling at the bottom, so you're going to see that more. But check that website out. There's a lot of great information on there. There's blogs on there. There's videos on there. There's marketing things on there. I've listened to a bunch of her marketing videos. You know, just how to set up this autoresponder to send out those emails. You know, those are things I don't have to research because Pam already has done that for me, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So you can email her. Her information is on there, and she's just full of great information like that. So is Judy. You know.
Yeah, I would say all three of us because, you know, when it comes right down to it, my greatest desire, I mean, I love serving people, but my greatest desire would be to help others serve more too.
Right.
Because the three of us together can't check all the people in the world.
Right.
And so to really make an impact in chiropractic and throughout the world, we'd love to help you do that. We'd love to help you serve more, however we could. So I would say
We
you
want
could
to be
reach
your
out to any of us.
chiropractic angels, not
Yes.
Shirley's angels.
Oh, right. We're
We'll be
we're
your chiropractic
chiropractic
angels for you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
And with that,
Thank you,
peace
Brittany.
out. All right, that's our end line right
Thanks
here.
for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for all you do to
and,
make a difference in the human
Yeah,
experience.
go get them.
yes.
Serve more.
And join the IFCO if you're not already a member.
Amen.
Thank you, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you.
Well, the idea was thrown out that we could be Liam Schubel's angels.
Was it?
Let's leave it a little blow.